Hi everyone, welcome to Learn Chinese Smart. I'm Yao Yao, your guide on this journey of mastering Mandarin. Let's jump right into today's topic, pronunciation. Have you ever practiced your tones, repeated words over and over, only to still get blank stares from native speakers? If that sounds familiar, don't worry. Today, we're not just talking about what you're doing wrong, we're uncovering why it happens and giving you actionable steps to fix it.
And I'm Alex, a fellow Mandarin learner. I've struggled through all the awkward moments, from calling someone's mom a horse to accidentally saying, I want to drink water. I know how frustrating it is when you feel like you're putting in the effort but not getting the results. Let's break this down together and make sure your pronunciation stands out for the right reasons.
So before we start with the biggest misconception, people think bad pronunciation is a lack of practice. But here's the truth. It's not just about how much you practice, but what you practice. So if I tell you what you have to do, seriously, it's all habit in the way of power suggestion.
That's so true. I used to think if I just repeated words enough, I'd get better. But the problem was I was practicing the wrong tones. So I was just reinforcing bad habits, like talking up in the wrong tones.
Exactly. Mandarin pronunciation has three main challenges: tones, unique sounds, and rhythm. Most learners focus too much on individual words without understanding how these elements work together. That's why even with hours of effort, they still sound unnatural. Anyone who is ever crying or giving a good speech or having a difficult time.
And let's not forget the psychological aspect. For me, the fear of sounding wrong held me back for months. I avoided speaking in front of native speakers because I didn't want to embarrass myself.
Well, fear is a big factor. But here's the thing. Mandarin pronunciation isn't about perfection. It's about clarity and confidence. Let's tackle these challenges one by one.
Let's start with tones. Mandarin has 4 tones: high, rising, dipping, and falling. If you mix them up, you're not just changing the sound, you're changing the meaning entirely. For example, male versus male horse. The difference is subtle but critical.
Oh, I struggle with this so much. One time I said, "Oh, 想一会, I want to drink water," but ended up saying, "Oh, 想一会, I want to drink who." That was a fun conversation to explain.
The key is to separate tones from words. Practice tones in isolation first. Take a simple sound like ma and go through all the tones. Ma, 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 na, and ma. Focus on making each one distinct.
One thing that helped me was practicing tone pairs, switching between two tones like first and third. It's a great way to train your brain to hear and produce tonal differences.
And don't forget to record yourself. Listening back is humbling but incredibly effective. Compare your recording to a native speaker and adjust as needed.
The next challenge is Mandarin's unique sounds, like zhi, sha, and r. These don't exist in English, so your mouth and tongue need to learn entirely new movements.
For me, chi, eat, versus si, eat, time, was a nightmare. I thought I was saying them right, but native speakers always look confused.
The fix: slow down. Break the sounds into parts and exaggerate them. For Z, curl your tongue back slightly. For R, think of a soft English R, but with a flatter tongue.
Watching native speakers' mouth movements helped me a lot. I'd mimic their positioning in slow motion until it felt natural. There's the same kind of breath you're taking.
Another tip: use minimum pairs to practice. For example, she versus she. Repeat them side by side until you can hear and produce the difference.
Now let's talk about rhythm. Mandarin has a natural flow that's very different from English. If you stress every word equally, it sounds robotic and unnatural. For example, what shihan chi mi fun? I like eating rice. If you pause after every word, it doesn't sound right.
I made this mistake all the time. I'd say each word slowly and separately like a robot. It was so obvious I wasn't fluent.
The key is to think in phrases, not individual words. Group words into natural chunks like woshiwan, I like, and chimifan, chimi rice. Practice saying them together with smooth pronunciation music.
Shadowing helped me a lot with this. I'd listen to a short clip of native speakers and repeat it immediately, mimicking their tone, rhythm, and speed.
And don't underestimate the power of music. Singing along to Chinese songs can help you internalize the natural rhythm without even realizing you're practicing.
Finally, let's address the elephant in the room: fear. Fear of making mistakes, fear of sounding silly, or fear of being judged. This fear holds so many learners back.
I avoided speaking for months because I didn't want to embarrass myself. But honestly, the only way to improve is to get it wrong, repeatedly.
Absolutely. Mistakes are proof you're trying. Start small, practice with a trusted language partner or tutor. Even talking to yourself in the mirror can build confidence.
And remember, native speakers appreciate the effort. They don't expect perfection. They just want to understand you.
The goal isn't to sound perfect, it's to communicate clearly and confidently. Every mistake you make is a step closer to fluency.
So here's your challenge for today. Pick one word, practice its tones, and record yourself saying it. Then practice it in a sentence and focus on the rhythm. Greta, if I don't know my numbers, how am I supposed to promote myself?
And let us know in the comments, what's the hardest word or tone you've struggled with in Mandarin? We'd love to hear your stories and help out.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this episode with your fellow language learners. Remember, Mandarin isn't about perfection, it's about progress. See you next time on Learn Chinese Smart.
再见。
Zhai Jiao.